Today, I wanted to talk about the awareness trap. Have you ever noticed how being aware, how seeing your own reactions, your triggers, your habitual ways of showing up and doing certain things can sometimes feel even harder than not being aware of them before? And that strain comes from realizing that your automatic responses that you've been relying on for years, things that you used to do on autopilot without thinking, are actually the choices that you can now observe and influence. And suddenly, the situation that used to be so automatic, like reacting defensively to feedback, saying yes to when actually you felt like a no, getting frustrated in a traffic or snapping during an argument, these become the moments where you begin to observe and notice yourself. And it's quite a strange experience. You start seeing yourself so much more clearly, but it can even feel heavier than before. And the reason for that, the reason why awareness can actually feel harder than not being aware, is because it removes that comfort of blame. You see, when you're unaware of your patterns, of your triggers, it's easy to tell yourself it's their fault. I can't help it. This is just who I am. So you get to stay in that story of other person being the problem. But the moment that awareness comes, the moment you start seeing yourself, the moment you start seeing your patterns, your triggers, you start seeing your role, your the patterns that you've been repeating, the emotional triggers, and suddenly there is no one else to blame. And the power for change sits entirely within you. And it can feel sometimes overwhelming. You know, I used to work with a client who came to me because his family was driving him nuts. And he blamed them for his stress and his unhappiness. And over time, he started to realize that his family weren't actually the problem. They were just pushing the buttons. They were just bringing those old emotions that he hasn't faced and he hasn't processed. So when his dad criticized them about his work or life choices in the past, my client would immediately get defensive. And now he realized that it actually wasn't about his dad's current words. It was just the old feeling of inadequacy that he hasn't faced and processed from his childhood. And his dad's criticism today was simply triggering those old unresolved emotions. And he also came to understand that from his dad's perspective, all he was trying to do is to guide him and protect him in the best way he knew how. And when it came to his mom, she used to express, like, show his disappointments. And my client would used to feel so guilty. But awareness showed him that these feelings weren't about the present moment again. They were from the times when he felt that he couldn't meet her and other people's expectations as a child. So everything was literally linked to the memory of the past. And he also understood that her disappointments came from her perspective, from her experience. And they were never a way about him, or they were never meant to hurt him. So through this process, he started separating present reality from the past memories. And in this, he found a lot of power and a lot of awareness. But then the next challenge came. And I see that actually over and over in my clients and also in myself. And my client, he said to me, now that I see my reactions, my triggers, I actually feel worse because I know it's not their fault. I know that it's something in me I need to change, but it's feeling worse because even though I'm aware of it, I can see it, but I don't know how to feel and how to act, how to choose differently. And this is exactly what happens with this awareness. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And many people stuck here because what they do, they simply shift the blame from out there onto themselves, which still keeps them trapped in a problem instead of moving towards a solution. Because you see, blame is a blame. Whether it's directed out there or in here, it still keeps you stuck. It forces your energy to stay stuck on a problem, not on the solution. And by doing that, it drains your energy and it keeps you repeating the same patterns, the same cycle. And you may even notice yourself aware of your behavior, your triggers, but you feel powerless to change it because the focus is on the problem. Shifting blame or shifting guilt inwards is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of stagnation. So how do you move from being aware and being stuck in self-blame to actually creating real lasting changes. So I'll use the example of my clients. Firstly, we worked on starting to see situation for what it is. Example, my dad criticized me. That's the situation. That's all it is. Everything else is a story. Everything else is in a head. Like, he doesn't respect me. He doesn't value me. That's a story. Stick with the facts. Next, name and feel the emotion. I feel frustrated. I feel hurt. And that's okay. Notice, connect to that emotion. Where are you feeling it in your body? 3, identify belief. Ask, what am I believing here? The belief could be, I'm not enough. And ask yourself, is this complete the truth? Is it absolute truth that I'm not enough? And then lastly, redirect your energy towards the solution. Ask yourself, how would I respond if I wasn't triggered? How would I respond if that did not bother me anymore? So these steps, they're not just coaching advice, they're actually grounded in scientific research, because studies in neuroscience and psychology that show that labeling your emotions, noticing your thoughts, and intentionally choosing your responses, it strengthens your brain's self-regulation circuits and weakens old automatic patterns, helping you to respond with more clarity instead of acting and reacting automatically. You see, awareness gives you a clear view of your reaction and triggers, but seeing them is just the first step. The next step is to redirect your energy away from the old habits and intentionally choose actions that align with your values and the person that you wish to become. So if you are aware of your trigger today, or some repeating patterns or a trait that you would love to change, what is the next step that you can take today towards breaking that cycle? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you